and right now I want to talk to you about why no one really cares what you're called. I hear this a lot, like I don't know how to describe myself and I don't know what to call myself and all of these things. Now, the first thing to mention about this is that quite often we get caught up in what to call ourselves because we don't have clarity on what we do. So the first thing to recognize is it could be that, and that actually you need to focus less on what you call yourself and focus back on this next thing, which is actually in reality all that people care about. People don't really care about what you're called. They care about how you can help them, what problem you solve for them, and what it is you do for them, and whether you actually help them, whether you are a specialist in helping the person that they are, the situation that they're in. That's all they really care about. They don't care about whether you have the word coach, expert, specialist, whatever it is that you want to label yourself as. That's not what's most important here. Adding obviously things like the word certified, if you are certified, to the beginning of your title. And maybe you prefer the word specialist because you really want to embrace your niche. Maybe there's a lot of people at the moment who don't want to use the word coach. I mean, to that, I get why you don't want to use the word coach, because the coaching industry has a very low barrier and there are a lot of people who are coaches, and you kind of want to differentiate yourself. And being that I'm me, I totally understand the need to be different, to be unique, to not blend in with everybody else. I get that sentiment, but don't get caught up in the way of what do I call myself. Just pick something that you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, there is no two title word, saying, label that you could give yourself that will ever describe everything that you possibly do. We just need to have a label that makes sense, at least, to what you do, so that people can truly understand. I mean, let's take this into the real world in terms of, PR. If you're talking to, I don't know, the producer of a TV show, they want to know what you do. I can call myself something crazy, like, I don't know, let's just make something up here, like the clarity queen, right? Okay, I get called that a lot in my inner circles, the clarity queen, because I help people get clarity on their niche, ideal client, and what makes them unique, awesome, and wanted. But to everybody else, unless I explained all of that, you wouldn't have a clue. They just want to know what you do in a nutshell. So these days, if people ask what I do, I say business coach. If I want to make it a little bit more niche, I call myself a business clarity coach. But either way, it kind of does what it says on the tin, and people get instantly who I am, what I do. Not specifically, obviously, but they still get that first, okay, cool. You work with businesses and you help coach them. They don't know what in, absolutely. And that's the point. They don't know what in. It doesn't really mean anything. And the thing that really means something to your prospects is, from a selfish perspective, what you're going to do for them. How are you going to help them? Do you usually help them? How can they self-identify? So that's what's more important. Don't be focused about on what you call yourself. Figure out who it is you help, what it is you help them with, what problem do you solve for them, and what outcome do you help them achieve. If you can get those three things nailed, then your job title, as it were, shouldn't really be much of an issue. You just pick something that sounds credible, is understandable, and some people want to give themselves a crazy title, whatever else. And do you know what? They have their place. I'm not saying don't do that. I always say there's more than one way to peel an orange. If you're a bit off the wall, you're a bit quirky, and you want to call yourself a bit crazy, then I'm not stopping you at all. But my point is, no one really cares. No one's going to buy from you because you call yourself a certain label. And really the reason we get so caught up in finding out what we want to call ourselves is actually what we're dying for, is that inner clarity and alignment to what it is we do for people. And actually that's the problem you have that you need to be focused on solving, not what you call yourself. So I hope that that helps a bit in terms of like releasing this need to figure out what you're called, and actually putting you back on track to the more important stuff, which is clarity on what it is that you give people and why people want you.